To be able to walk out to your front door and harvest your groceries is pretty good. To be able to get my fish, my deer, my moose, my rabbits. If I need to get fur, there's plenty of fur bearers around to get that. My name's William Isham. I'm from the Bois Forte reservation. 55 years old, living here my entire life. I was a logger for 22 years and working with DNR now for 16. There's not many native communities in Minnesota that have the environment that we have here in Bois Forte. In my opinion, we're taking really good care of the environment here with the circle of all the animals from our black bear, our wolves, our moose, our deer, our rabbits, our ruffed grouse, our geese, our ducks, our wild rice, and then the medicines that they also collect. What I'm hoping is with this carbon project, we create the habitat where we have these trees growing for a long time and we still have state, federal, and banned logging, which will create habitat for the smaller stuff because they need to eat the young browse. But we also have the thick timber blocks that are going to hold for cover and any nesting birds that will be using those big trees.
The carbon project has been a huge development for Bois Forte. We used to manage around 44,000 acres between allotment and trust lands. Now we're looking at 71,000 acres under management with the new acquire of the carbon project lands. And this started in 2021 when the land was acquired. Now into 2025, we're writing a forest management plan for the carbon project, and we're starting to get hard numbers that we can produce to the people and to the tribal council. So a huge thing the ILTF and NIC are supporting tribes, Bois Forte is one of them, is that the reacquisition of this land is being wholly supported by the carbon project, and the revenue that's brought in by the carbon project will secure that this land stays in Bois Forte hands into the future for generations and generations. The hardest part of this job is getting to the work, getting to the plots, getting to the stands that you want to cruise. It may be inaccessible, but we need to get to the woods. We need to see what the woods looks like. So we learn new methods. A lot of people would think we use snowshoes, but a lot of the woods is too thick for snowshoes. So we've learned to operate snowmobiles in a manner that we can drive them into almost anything. We have timber in mind for carbon production. I guess the support to grow these large trees will affect everything from the micro to the macro. As animals nest and there's more prey, you'll have a higher population of predators as well. All of the small birds are gonna want larger diameter trees to nest in. And so these trees that are regenerating and are really small are good for small birds to create little cavity nests to lay their eggs in. But as you start to get to woodpeckers and owls and a little bit more of the medium-sized birds, they really desire a larger tree to burrow in and to feel safe in. And as for the large animals, they need young cut area to browse, but they also need large undisturbed forested areas for winter cover or for summer cover. If it's hot and humid or it's hot and dry, they need areas that are covered well with shade. And then also in the winter, those areas that are covered with shade don't take snowfall underneath. So it's an area for deer and moose to recover from the deep snowpack. As this timber grows and falls down and becomes laying biomass, there'll be mushrooms growing on it. That mushroom will spread that, there'll be more fungus, and you'll have more of these medicinal plants, pipsissewa, wintergreen, bearberry, that do exist in areas of the forest, but just aren't getting the most nutrients and the best conditions to grow.
Everything is food to us. Everything is medicine, everything is protection, everything can be used as a tool. So when it comes to our traditional practices and how that encompasses everything that we do, even in modern days, it comes down to preserving our ways of life. So the community aspect of the carbon banking project is to involve the community as much as we can and to put the cultural spin on things, so to speak, so that we can get back to what we used to do before we were colonized. It's a way for us to preserve our forestry and our vegetation and our wildlife and our protection, basically, to make sure that we have that in the years to come for the next generations and the generations after that, so that we can keep these traditions alive and strong and within our grasp so that we don't lose who we are. We ingrain ourselves so deeply into the balance of things when it comes to life and death, and that weaves itself into respecting not just each other, but respecting the wildlife, the plants, the sun, the moon, everything that makes us alive. But these trees around here, they protect us. If it's one thing that I want people to know, is that this project is ensuring our future. We have the ability and we have the freedom to do what we need to do traditionally as far as harvesting, hunting, learning. We still use things like, for example, the water. The lake up here is considered very, very powerful, and we are always meant to use the lake water whenever we really, really need a prayer to work, or if we're really, really sick and we really need to get better.
Where you're at, the environment can be messed up in a heartbeat. The guys we had before, 20 some years ago, they would totally freeze the lake right to the bottom, which then would help the rice germinate better. What I found out was we were losing our muskrats, we lost our fish. I took it upon myself not to completely freeze it to the bottom because I was still getting germination. So I keep it at a medium so we don't lose oxygen on the fish. Our fish population is starting to rebound. We've probably got maybe 200% more of our muskrats are back. The fish and the muskrats help stir up the bottom of the lake so we can get our wild rice. When I'm testing the water, I'm testing for changes in the water. Hopefully I never see them, because if I do, that means there's a problem. Don't take nothing for granted, because it can change, and if you work towards something, and it's work, you can't just say, oh, I want to do it. I mean, we've been working on this for a while now, and we're going to be working on it for a while yet.
If you're not in a site that's been noticeably cut within the past 50 years, depending on where you are, there's certain areas that may not have been touched by anyone alive, so that it's a real rooting feeling, or it was for me. Some of those trees, they might be older than the U.S. itself. For sure, older than Minnesota was a state. And the old trees have a role, the young undergrowth has a role to the wildlife. The wildlife and its communication to the people of Bois Forte has a role, whether they're hunting, collecting, gathering. We're using new science and technology to measure the valuation of this program. And what we're left with is a real innovative product that allows you to expand on your roots in the past. You're allowed to hold a foot deeper into the past when you're looking backwards by reacquiring traditional land, by doing it responsibly through responsible stewardship with new ideas. So it allows the Bois Forte people who have a connection to the past, but they also still value innovation forward. It allows those two values to be connected.
We're looking at improved forest management methods because we really want this land to heal, and we really want this land to be the best that it can be for 7 generations into the future. Because the work we do today probably won't be seen by us into our old age. So a lot of the things we do day to day are for the next generation and for the generation after that. The forest will have a chance to heal itself and to regenerate and to become a healthy, natural state of forest that might have existed before pre-settlement. It's hard to say, obviously that was hundreds of years ago, but that's the goal of this project, is to create a healthy, sustainable forest. This is gonna set up, hopefully, a forest that generations can use and be proud of, and they'll have a history to follow on how Bois Forte bought their land back, managed it in their own project, and it was successful.